Thank you for joining us on CoreTV News Hour. I am Frank Komalapia. Here are some of the reports we'll file in at this hour. The Nigerian Army has disapproved claims of an alleged massacre of civilians in Kokowa Gari of Yobe State. Local and international news reports citing eyewitness account has said about 150 people were either killed or drowned in an attempt to escape from Boko Haram insurgents. But the army insists through its Twitter handle that it was a fabricated story that cannot be substantiated. Meanwhile, the Nigerian troops on Tuesday evening engaged insurgents in gun battle in Goza. The army said in a statement that the terrorists were fleeing area bombardment in Sambisa Forest in 7 pickup vans and motorcycles when the soldiers engaged them. It added that a number of the Boko Haram members were killed in the shootouts, or their vehicles and arms were destroyed. The army authorities say one of the pickup vans, a motorcycle, and 2 AK-47 rifles, as well as large stock of ammunition, were recovered. And in the meantime, the Bring Back Our Girls group has outlined a week-long activities to commemorate 500 days of the 219 secondary school girls abducted by insurgents from Chibok, Borno State. The initiative, tagged Global Week of Action, is to begin on Friday, August 21 and climax on August 27, the day the girls will be spending 500 days in captivity. Members of the protest movement are, however, hopeful that the girls will be rescued before the day. A group hinged their optimism on what they described as a pragmatic step taken by the Buhari administration.
However, in the last few weeks, we have had cause for a rekindled hope. Our confidence boosted, and we are more assured that sooner than later our girls shall return. This as a result of some pragmatic steps our government has been taking recently. Our new president's December 2015 deadline to have the terrorists decimated, what we see as compliance by our military of the presidential order to annihilate the terrorists by November 2015, and so on and so forth. Even though ever hopeful and expectant of their rescue before the day 500, which is 27 August 2015, we have organized a global week of action to commemorate the tragedy of their abduction. This Friday, 21st August 2015, marks the beginning of our Global Week of Action, themed 500 Days On, Chibok Girls Crying to be Rescued, Never to be Forgotten.
And our outgoing Controller General Customs, Diko Abdullahi, says he is leaving a service that is capable of sustaining itself amid limited resources. He's also pointing at the Customs Hospital in Karo, Abuja, as one of the legacies he is leaving behind after 6 years in charge. The hospital was commissioned by Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai.
Looking at this facility, I was taken aback by the size and the levels of equipment and organization of the facility. It is a very, very impressive teaching hospital, I think. The best way to put this edifice to use is to affiliate it with a university and make it a teaching hospital. It is perhaps the most well-equipped hospital I have seen in Nigeria. And it is as equipped as anyone I have seen anywhere in the world. And I think the Nigerian Customs Service should be commended for this effort. And it is not the money, you know, as I was explaining to the CG in commending him. There are many organizations in Nigeria that have the money to do this, but lack the leadership, the focus, and the commitment. It is commitment that is needed, and I think that's the difference, and I want to congratulate the CGC and the Customs Service for this. This is perhaps the best hospital in the Federal Capital Territory.
I want to be remembered as an ordinary Nigerian who has an opportunity to serve his nation, and I serve my nation diligently. Well, we cannot say because still the project is ongoing, because we have a dialysis center that we have not yet completed.
And Now, the Taraba state government has issued a warning to the warring communities of Jokun, Fulani and Tif in Wokari to stop what he described as senseless killing in the name of protecting tribes or religion. Governor Dixon Ishako visited the area for an interactive meeting with the leadership of the three communities, emphasized on genuine forgiveness and reconciliation. This, he noted, is necessary for an atmosphere of development to set in. And now the immediate past governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, has identified planning as a critical factor for any developing nation. Fashola emphasized these are the public presentation of some books authored by his special advisor on media, Hakim Bello, to chronicle his accomplishments while in office. Correspondent Abiola Luwale has details.
Though the event was meant for the launching of books written in honor of his administration, it was an avenue for former Governor Babatunde Fashola to speak on some national issues. Fashola, who says planning is key to the development of any nation, maintained that effective census figure plays a critical role in understanding the needs of the people.
If the work of government is to provide service to people, its efficiency will be determined by its knowledge of how many people need service. And therefore, without accurate census figures, it may seem that we are not determined to head in the path of development. So the numbers have changed from 160 million to 170 million, and sometimes you now hear 180 million.
Senate President Bukola Saraki, who was represented by Bengama Konjuola and Tunde Samuel, who represented APC national leader Bola Tinubu, attributed Fashola's success in office to intellectual ability and his belief in tenets of democracy.
His stewardship and service as a former governor of Lagos State speaks for itself. His breakthrough in the realm of governance in Lagos State and the attendant success and achievement recorded therefrom is an attestation that he is an administrator par excellence. I have no doubt that Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola deserves more than this book presentation today. He came, he saw, he worked, and he achieved.
I want to congratulate Governor Babatunde Raji Fashola for coming out today to let all Lagosians, all Nigerians, see clearly that Ashiwaju has taken a very valid decision in bringing you up to be the Chief of Staff, the Governor of Lagos State in the first 4 years, the Governor of Lagos State in the second 4 years, and now I am confident that the sky is the limit for you.
To the special advisor of former Governor Fashola on media, Hakim Bello, the books will make it possible for future leaders to have a prior knowledge of governance.
These three books, therefore, I have endeavored, along with my friend and lovely brother, Mr. Akwadedi, I've endeavored to put together some of his memorable words and works in print. It is my hope that through them, readers will get a glimpse into ideas that power his action and fire the imagination of those aspiring to leadership.
The books, titled The Great League in bold print and The Lagos Blowdown, were co-authored by Special Advisor to former Governor Fashola on media, Hakim Bello, and Dapo Adeniyi, to document strides of the last administration in Lagos State. Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News, Lagos.
You're still watching CoreTV News at noon. We will take a break now. When we come back, it will be time for us to take a look at some other stories. Join us again.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and
new TT. For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to your husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will stand for Yoruba land, will be strong man, you don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
It's CoreTV News, our live from our Lagos studios. All our top stories can be found on our social media platforms. It's facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also follow at CoreTV News NG. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space, the news. And about 500 workers shut down the Calabar office of the Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company over the welfare. The agri workers vowed that the office will remain closed until their grievances were met. The workers carried placards with inscriptions explaining the rationale behind the workers' action. The state chairman of the National Union of Electricity Employees, Asuko Ita, who spoke alongside his colleague in the private sector realm of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Carlo Imung, accused the management of PHEDC of failing to look into workers' plight. Imung also stated specifically that the workers were not happy with the management because it had failed to compensate the family of one of their colleagues who was electrocuted in Ikori Yakoro local government area of the state while on duty. Effort to reach the business manager of the Calabar office of PHEDC, Emeka Otigi, failed as they neither picked calls nor responded to Ness messages on his mobile phones as of the time of filing the report. And now the Acting Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Haruna Baba Jaro, has described the partnership between the agency and the Nigerian Navy as beneficial to the growth and development of the maritime sector, the nation at large. The DGO stated this during the promotion and shipping of stripes of Sergeant Lieutenant Commandant Meg Chaka, an officer of the Nigerian Navy posted to the Maritime Guard Command at the headquarters of the agency, noted that the Memorandum of Understanding with the Nigerian Navy, which midwife the MGC, has helped to boost security and surveillance activities on the nation's territorial waterways. It further pledged the agency's commitment to ensuring that Nigeria becomes a safe place for business activities to thrive, thereby achieving the status of being the maritime hub in Africa. While describing the newly promoted officer as a disciplined, modest, and hard-working officer, Jaro advised him not to relent in his commitment to his duties and service to the country. And now the Kaduna State government has announced plans to introduce a harmonized feeding system for all boarding schools in the state. Commissioner for Education, Sheikh Usman, said it is because of reports of poor meals which have sometimes led to health hazard. He noted under the new feeding arrangement, same meal will be served to students as breakfast, lunch and dinner. The Education Minister, Commissioner, added that if students in the state are to be served rice as lunch, everybody in school will serve the same meal. This, he explained, is to make it easier for inspectors to identify which school serves rice that is below standard. The Nigeria Communications Commission, NCC, says the use of unregistered SIM cards is a huge threat to national security in the country. Speaking at a press conference, Idenya Efosa, head monitoring NCC, said compliance monitoring has been conducted on all mobile networks, adding that the next stage is enforcement and sanctions on the defaulters, a tax that will be executed alongside the National Security Agency.
By 11th of this month, all invalid, improperly registered and unregistered SIM card that are active within any network in Nigeria should be deactivated, and that henceforth all registrations of any SIM card must comply fully with the specification as it regards to facial images, fingerprints, and all other agreed specification in the SIM-Reg and its business rules. This is a compliance check, but the enforcement proper will go according to the specification of our regulation. That is, going forward, our enforcement unit will visit all the operators, and physically demand that all those numbers that fall within these categories be removed from the system. We are working hand in hand with the National Security Advisor on this issue because it is no longer business as usual.
The Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund, is seeking an increase in the statutory tax collected on its behalf by the Federal Inland Revenue Service from 2 to 4%. TET Fund Executive Secretary Sulaiman Bogoro made the appeal at a stakeholders meeting in Abuja. He explained that an increase in the fund accruing to the agency will help in expanding its scope of intervention from tertiary down to the basic level of the national education sector.
In a recent report by the Ministry of Education to Mr. President, the case was made for increase in the 2% education tax collection by Federal Inland Revenue to have a law that raises it to 3 to even 4%. We are supportive. We believe that with what we've done, and if you've noticed now, we said some 5 years ago there was no African university ranked amongst the top 100 in Africa. That was embarrassing enough. Today, because of aggressive intervention, concentration of government attention on our public tertiary institutions, and with massively the support of TET Fund, we now have 28 Nigerian universities ranked among the top 100 in Africa.
We'll take another break now. We'll be back with sports and stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And in business now, Senate Leader Lindomi has explained why his colleagues in the upper chamber were pushing for fresh bailout for the domestic airlines operators in the country, despite the fact that the previous one granted to them by the last administration was allegedly mismanaged. There have been public outcries against the move since stakeholders in the sector started canvassing fresh bailout recently because of the alleged mismanagement of funds made available to the operators between 2009 and 2012. But Indomie, in an interview with newsmen in Abuja, explained that the Senate is worried that there is an impending crisis in the aviation sector at the moment, especially when the operators were already demanding an urgent federal government's assistance. He said that the Senate could not insist that the beneficiaries of the bailout, a multi-billion-dollar bailout granted by the last administration, must refund them first before the serious-minded people genuinely running the business could be supported. The Senate leader maintained that the Senate President Bukola Saraki decided to set up an ad hoc committee on aviation last week in order to carry out an overview of the current situation in the subsector with a view to recommending measures to avert possible crisis in the nearest future. And outside Nigeria now, video footage has emerged of the key suspects police want to question in connection with the deadly bomb blast in the Thai capital, Bangkok. The footage from a CCTV camera shows a man in yellow shirts leaving a backpack in the Erawan Hindu shrine. At least 20 people died in Monday's blast, about half of them foreigners, and more than 120 were injured. In a separate attack on Tuesday, an explosive device was thrown at a pair in Bangkok, but no one was hurt. Nationals from China, Hong Kong, the UK, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore were among the foreigners killed in the attack. The new footage is shown carefully and deliberately removing his backpack inside the shrine, getting up without it, and immediately leaving the scene. The spot where he was sitting was precisely where the bomb went off a few minutes later. And Islamic environmental and religious leaders have called on rich countries and oil-producing nations to end fossil fuel use by 2050. The Islamic Climate Declaration says that the world's 1.6 billion US Muslims have a religious duty to fight climate change. It urges politicians to agree a new treaty to limit global warming to 2 centigrade. The declaration is like a trigger to say, wake up where you are, wake up and take care of the earth. Farazin Khalik, Islamic Foundation for Ecology and Environmental Science, drafted an international symposium in Istanbul. The declaration calls for all people, leaders and business to commit to 100% renewable energy. It also argues for increased financial support for communities vulnerable to climate change. The call has been supported by religious leaders, including the Grand Muftis of Uganda and Lebanon, the president of Indonesia's major body of religious scholars, as well as environmental groups and government officials from Morocco and Turkey. And in sports now, Super Eagles on Tuesday had its first 2 training sessions under coach Sunday Olise. This is in preparation to the African Nations Cup qualifying match against Tanzania scheduled for next month. Correspondent Basiaye witnessed the evening section at the Abuja National Stadium.
Few hours after his return to the country, Coach Olise held his first session with the home-based players invited for the forthcoming game against Tanzania. The morning session was an open event, but the second was closed to the media because it was said to be a tactical session. But while the players and the team handlers are making efforts to plug all loopholes, football analysts are speaking on expectation.
Well, I think we can pick a win. We can pick a definite win in Tanzania. All we need to do is just to get our acts together. Remember that we have to play a very, very compact team. They are a team that have prepared so much ahead. They even went on a European tour just for the Super Eagles to, to frustrate us. And I think this time around, the NFF must get the traveling arrangements right. They must arrive there on time, acclimatize themselves to the weather conditions, make sure that they understand everything. And as for the coaching crew, they just need to concentrate. And to Coach Sunday Olise, I just want him to know that, look, a lot has been said, so many titles, the Pep Guardiola of Africa, the Arsene Wenger of we want him to be original. Give us your best. We want you to be the Sunday Olise of Nigeria.
There is no gainsaying the football fans and supporters in Nigeria expect success from the Super Eagles. But many agree that these are still early days. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Well, and that's a wrap on CoreTV News Hour. Thank you for watching. I am Frank Omalape. Bye for now.